crypto as part of this, because this is going to be the infrastructure layer for the entire financial industry. We're seeing it happening, I mean, in front of our eyes. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, everybody, the European Investment Bank, issuing bonds on Ethereum, using different payment systems, central bank digital currencies, stable coins, NFTs, the scale of what is happening in that space. Yes, again, it always feels like this, but when you look at it, it just does this over time. As adoption happens, the opportunities and the stuff in that is big. So I think also on this week, I think I'm on Pro Crypto with Kevin Kelly talking about the nexus between macro and crypto, which is always one of these things. I just love how all of these themes all weave together. And then we've got the macro on top, which is the driver. It's like, I'm looking at this moment in time, and the big driver for all of these trends, one of the big drivers is obviously debasement of currency, because we're dealing with an over-indebted world. And we're getting to the situation where the bond market's freaking out so much because they're trying to issue so much debt that at some point, the central banks are likely to have to reverse course. That gets a very interesting setup to 24, 25 for both technology investing and crypto investing. So I really think that the end of this year is very positive from a macro perspective for this stuff. And the next 2 years after that are all to play for. So, my whole focus is on this right now. I just think, if humanity is going to go through this, we might as well be involved. And if the humanities fucks up the macro so badly by having massive debts at this aging population, the only way, and slow growth, the only way around it is technology and productivity. And, I wrote that article, Robots are the New Demographics, which is part of that, is like, well, if you can't, GDP growth is driven by population growth, productivity growth, and debt growth. Well, we've reached the end of debt growth. Population growth, we're actually starting to shrink in most developed countries. But the moment you put in robots and AI, you've created infinite people. Yeah. So does that mean infinite GDP growth? I don't know, but maybe. Depends on the constraints. You'll have energy constraints and other stuff. And what does that do to productivity? I mean, you could change everything. This is a moment in history unlike anything humanity's gone through. And I know every day is a moment in history and there's always something big going on. But this is a fundamental shift to humanity. I mean, like, one of the things you and I have talked about, I mean, we've not talked on camera since June, but one of the things we talked about was that AI was the infinite scaling of knowledge. I mean, we can't get our heads around what these things mean and where this is going to lead to. But we are living history. And that's why I like writing about it and documenting it in Real Vision, to put our markers down as this thing unfolds. Because you kind of forget, it was like the pandemic, it all happened so fast, and then you forgot to keep a diary of it, and then you've kind of got these blurred memories. But just to anchor yourself in what the hell is going on, I think is just really important for people. So they, as you said, whether they like it or not, doesn't matter, but you can't ignore it. I don't believe the bullshit narrative of stochastic parrot, because it cannot do that. It cannot suddenly learn how to play a game and play it like no human has ever done it before when it's never been taught that. Because that model of kind of predicting the next thing doesn't work that way. I think that's really interesting. The guy from Anthropic, there was an excellent interview with him on some podcast. And he's like, we've had to build an MRI machine for our AI, to try, like we do with MRI machines, try and figure out brain activity. We're trying to figure out how this bloody AI thinks. Yeah. We can't figure it out. So I just, when people talk about, when is it a person, when does it have intelligence? I'm like, I don't think we have any clue whatsoever. There was another thing that really struck me was Lex Fridman interviewing Sam Altman. And Sam stopped him at one point, stopped Lex and said, do you think we've invented AGI? We just don't know it yet. And Lex stopped, because he's an expert in AI as well. He stopped, thought about it for a while and said, I don't know.
Bitcoin is gearing up for a wild ride. We've got a crypto analyst, CryptoCon, breaking down Bitcoin's resistance barriers and pointing to a possible surge above $60,000. Their eye moves similar to 2019 when Bitcoin rallied over a resistance layer. The target? A staggering $61,156. Can Bitcoin pull off this jaw-dropping feat? Only time will tell. But wait, there's more. While Bitcoin takes a breather at $37,000, altcoins like Solana, Cardano, XRP, and even meme coins like Doji and SHIB are stealing the show with double-digit gains. It's an altcoin extravaganza as capital rotates away from Bitcoin's hype. Cryptocon warns against overlooking these altcoins, and we can't help but wonder, are altcoins the underdogs ready to steal the spotlight? Switching gears, the crypto world is buzzing with anticipation because the SEC is on the brink of a game-changing decision about spot Bitcoin ETFs. Will the SEC give the green light, or will they tap the brakes? Analysts predict a 90% chance of approval by January 10, 2024, if not within the current 8-day window. BlackRock's bid adds fuel to the fire, but the SEC remains cautious, demanding clarity and additional info. The crypto market is on the edge of its seat as the SEC's decision looms large. Hold on to your crypto dreams, but beware of market predictions. Euro-Pacific Capital CEO Peter Schiff is sounding the alarm, predicting a market crash as Bitcoin inches toward $38,000. Schiff believes a Bitcoin ETF launch could trigger a downturn, with early buyers selling off, leaving the market in chaos. But hey, not everyone's on board with Schiff's crystal ball. Will this prediction be another swing and a miss, or is there a storm brewing in the crypto world? Buckle up, money talkers, because the roller coaster is about to plunge into uncertainty, excitement, and maybe even a few loop-de-loops. Let's continue our discussion with Raoul Pal.
Originally, I'd started to look at the Fed balance sheet as a denominator and realized that there was debasement of currency going on. And I started looking at everything versus the Fed balance sheet, and I found two assets that miraculously outperformed it, which was crypto and technology stocks. And I'm a macro guy. I hated investing in technology because technology was always for the stupid optimists, the people who never believed in mean reversion, and it was always expensive, and it just didn't suit me as a macro person. Most macro people are in the same boat. And then I started to understand, well, why is it doing this? And as I did the work on crypto, I started understanding Metcalfe's law and network effects and adoption models, and I realized that technology was going through the same thing. So I then started going through the work on technology to understand, why does it trade expensively? Why does it keep going up? Because you look at the log trend, it just keeps rising over time. The log trends of Amazon, Microsoft, the NASDAQ, Tesla, all of these things are endlessly bottom left, top right, but they're volatile when they're not on the log trend. So I want to understand that. Part of it was obviously the debasement of currency, but the other thing I started to realize was technology had been increasing in speed and also in kind of leap forward. And we were about to enter a period where we were probably going to get the fastest period of technological change humanity's ever lived through. That was the building blocks of what I then discovered were, when you put massive compute with lower energy costs and AI, you're going to make massive scientific breakthroughs. And we will increase longevity, we'll solve all sorts of diseases, and these kind of things are all coming together. The Internet of Things and the metaverse itself. So when I saw all of these things, I realized that we'd gone from the phase that these were all being built over the last 10, 15, 20 years, but now they were at the age and point of adoption. And when I realized that all of these individually had Metcalfe law type models, which means they're very rapid. You have to look at them in logarithmic terms. But if you realize that all of these are actually interlinked, and if they're interlinked, then you get something which is Metcalfe's law squared, which is Reed's law. I actually asked ChatGPT-4 if there's any example of Reed's law actually that's happened in technology, and it doesn't come back that there is one. It's happened in biology, but not in technology. So all of these things are about to accelerate. I first wrote the article, I think it was in like April 2021. And even I've been shocked by the speed of which AI came onto this world. We'd seen crypto, and that was the fastest adoption of any technology we'd ever seen. And AI dwarfed that. The speed of which it happened was extraordinary.
Economist Peter Schiff has warned that a complete separation of the Chinese and U.S. economies would be a disaster for America, but boon for China. He explained, Americans would be stuck with fewer goods and higher prices, while the Chinese would be rewarded with more goods and lower prices. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, has revealed why he keeps buying gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Our leaders want more war and poverty, He stressed, noting that the three investment types provide lifelong financial security and freedom. He recently made several bullish predictions about the price of Bitcoin, ranging from $135,000 to $1 million. Robin Linus, the creator behind BitVM, a computing construct atop the Bitcoin blockchain, released a new white paper on November 11, 2023, entitled Bitstream. The document explores a system aimed at reforming the economic structure of file storage, suggesting a usage-based model that rewards server contributions with Bitcoin payments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.